Hello, we are here for eCancer TV at ASH 2015 in Orlando. My name is Thierry Facon. I am a hematologist coming from France. I am here with Dr. Saad Usmani from Charlotte in the US. He is a great myeloma expert, and he presented today on daratumumab. So he presented a very important study on daratumumab in very advanced myeloma patients. So this is basically a combined study, combining two studies which have been presented before, but he provided very useful information on the use of daratumumab for myeloma patients. So Saad, could you comment on your study results?
Sure. Thanks, Professor Facon. So daratumumab is the first biologic monoclonal antibody that just got FDA approved about a week ago. And this current analysis is a combined analysis of 148 patients who participated in both the Gen 501 and the Sirius trials, the data that actually led to the FDA approval of the study of this drug. Daratumumab was given as a single agent in heavily pretreated relapsed refractory myeloma patients. About half of the patients were exposed and refractory to carfilzomib, and almost a third to pomalidomide as well. And 5 prior medium lines of therapy. By the time they were enrolled on the trial, they had been about 5 years from the time of diagnosis. So they were going through these lines of therapy fairly quickly. The key element that I find striking is, despite the relapse refractory nature of this patient population, there was significant clinical activity. The overall response rate was about 31%, and some very deep responses, VGPRs, CRs, and stringent CRs were also seen. And it wasn't simply about the survival benefit conferred to patients who were responding. Patients who had MR and stable disease, it appears that even though their PFS was about 3.5 months, so much shorter than the responders, but their overall survival was over 17 months, which, if we look at historic data from Dr. Shaji Kumar's study published 3 years ago, it's quite striking. So I find that these results are very encouraging, and we appear to have a new platform as these monoclonal antibodies are coming out, with the anti-CD38s as being very effective medicines, and looking forward to future data with upfront treatments.
But you mentioned, okay, the PFS was about 4 months, but in responders, the duration of response was quite good. If I remember well, it was between 7 and 8 months, so some patients respond correct. For a long time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think one of the things that we're trying to understand is the mechanism of action. We do feel that daratumumab works through the classical pathways that we understand monoclonal antibodies, through ADCC, ADPC, and CDC. But what we've learned from looking at the blood samples from the patients on these studies is that some patients, especially the responders, appear to have a very high level of CD8 T cell expansion. And what we're understanding is that it's the action of daratumumab on the CD38 positive Treg cells, Breg cells, and MDSCs that perhaps leads to an expansion of that CD8 positive
so
cell.
These are immunomodulatory drugs, in fact,
yes.
which was not totally expected, but that's the...
Yes.
And could you comment on the tolerance? So we noted a few months ago that the toxicity profile was quite good. Is that still valid in the combined analysis with a longer follow-up?
Yes, it is. So we find that a little less than half of the patients develop an infusion-related reaction, and vast majority of those infusion-related reactions occur the first time the patients are getting it. I think this phenomenon is not unique just to daratumumab. We experienced this with rituximab in the past as well. The going hypothesis may be CD38 is expressed ubiquitously, so it might as well cause some sort of hypersensitivity in the respiratory tract. And once the CD38 is underexpressed, then patients don't develop the infusion reaction again. So that's quite possible. But outside of that, we did not see any significant safety signals beyond what's already been reported.
The daratumumab is now combined with other immunomodulatory drugs such as pomalidomide, lenalidomide, and also some bortezomib. We have bortezomib studies as well. So I think everybody is quite enthusiastic about that. And so you mentioned daratumumab itself as an immunomodulatory effect. So you may expect that lenalidomide-based studies, lenalidomide and daratumumab, or pomalidomide and daratumumab, will provide very good clinical outcome for patients.
Yes, certainly. I mean, it would make intuitive sense that they would work well together. And the other piece of the safety profile is that adding daratumumab to available platform for medicines will not increase the safety signal, hopefully.
So you are lucky doctors in the US because you got approval for for several myeloma drugs this year, and so this is the case for daratumumab, but almost at the same time Elotuzumab got approval as well.
Yes.
And so that's amazing, and so other ixazomib got approval as well, so that's good news for patients, in fact. So this morning we had we got some additional Elotuzumab results, and so I think these results were interesting because so these are the results of the ELOQUAN-2 study, Lendex versus Lendex Elotuzumab, and we already had 1 year PFS, 2 year PFS, so the ELO arm had a PFS benefit which was quite clinically significant and statistically significant as well. But many people said, okay, we have to wait to 3 year PFS because if you have to manage an immuno-oncology drug, you need to see a strong long-term benefit. And so people were quite interested in looking at the 3 year PFS. You may say this is quite a detail, so that's only an expert discussion, but I do believe this is something important. And they saw that the PFS benefit was still there at 3 years, and they got some. Okay, it's not the final survival, but anyway, they got some survival benefit as well. So that's really good news for patients. So looking at antibodies, and as you know, there is a lot of interest in antibodies for myeloma patients. So we got some very impressive daratumumab results, and also for elotuzumab, and we may get other results with other CD38 antibodies as well.